Hello, everybody. Welcome back to an episode of Character Analysis. It's kind of been a while, so this whole week I've been pretty much putting out gameplay videos. So I kind of apologize for that, and kind of the reason why I apologize for it is I kind of like to have a mix. Usually I don't like to have gameplay videos kind of every single day. Gameplay. Usually I like to have a mix. Some gameplay videos, some like a podcast maybe, or my thoughts, or character analysis. I like to kind of mix it up with the week. So usually I don't just put out straight gameplay for 3 days, kind of like I did this week. But usually what happens is I just get busy and I don't really get a chance to do a talking video like this. So it's good gameplay. It's pure gameplay, but it's still kind of better. I usually like to mix it up a bit, with talking videos. And also, so I do have a lot more plans on kind of next week. So anyways, going forward with that, welcome back to character analysis. Today we're going to be doing one of the main villains of Black Ops 1, Nikita Dragovich. Now, I think it's necessary. Obviously, he's the main villain of Black Ops 1, and the objective that we're trying to kill. We're trying to kill him the whole game. So it's only necessary that I cover the villain of the story. So he has a pretty interesting story, obviously getting everything from the COD wiki here. So let's get started. Major General Nikita Dragovich, and it shows his actual name in Russian, is the main antagonist of COD Black Ops 1. He was responsible for the death of Dmitry Petrenko and the creation of Project Nova. Dragovich is also responsible for the Numbers program, which brainwashed Mason into becoming a sleeper agent. He later conspired with Lev Kravchenko, which we're going to be talking about Kravchenko in the next analysis video, because he's also the second main villain of Black Ops 1, and Frederick Steiner to weaponize Nova 6 and unleash it upon the United States. To do this, he had many Americans brainwashed as sleeper agents, with one of them being Alex Mason. So, talk about his early life. Dragovich was born on August 10th, 1914, in the Russian city of Tsaritsyn. I'm sorry, I bombed that name. Now known as Volgograd. During the final years of the Russian Empire, nothing else is known about his early life beyond him eventually witnessing the Russian Revolution, the formation of the Soviet Union, and the enlistment in the Soviet armed forces. During the infamous Battle of Stalingrad, General Dragovich would promise to send more reinforcements. General Dragovich abandoned this promise and left Viktor Reznov's men to be massacred at the Red Square. With Stalingrad eventually being liberated by the Soviets, it was here that Reznov learned that Dragovich should not be trusted. The capture of Steiner. We're here for one German and one German only, Dr. Frederick Steiner, Dragovich explaining his plan to get to Steiner. After the war, Dragovich was in charge of interrogating the German POWs, which he learned about the Nazis' failed attempt to use V-2 rockets with Nova 6 warheads to strike the U.S. and the Soviet Union. He, along with Lev Kravchenko, his right-hand man, volunteered for the Soviets' Operation Olympus. This operation required them to capture a scientist named Frederick Steiner and bring him to Nova 6, which was a biochemical weapon that was created by Steiner back in Russia. Dragovich led a group of Russians that are commanded by Captain Viktor Reznov, along with Dmitry Petrenko. They were ordered to capture Steiner in a Nazi stronghold in the Arctic Circle. The operation was a success, and Steiner was eventually found and taken into Soviet custody, while the rest of his men were either killed or later executed by Kravchenko and other Soviet officers. During the mission, they found and captured Steiner and discussed Project Nova, where they found the weapon aboard a frozen abandoned ship. Dragovich decided to test the weapon on Reznov's squad. Petrenko and his men died from the gas, but before Reznov could share the same fate, the British commanders attacked the site in order to take or destroy the weapon shipment. The shipment was destroyed by Reznov. However, Dragovich escaped with Steiner, meaning that the weapon could be recreated 14 years after, in 1959. Dragovich received the party approvals for use of Nova 6 in the first strike capacity. In the event of World War III, the capture of Alex Mason, who will know suffering behind his darkest fears. I have plans for you, American. Dragovich upon capturing Mason. So that's pretty much his kind of backstory and how everything, what kind of led up to the game. And honestly, in my opinion, he's a good villain. Okay, so I wouldn't say he's the best COD villain, but he's pretty. He's a pretty good villain for the first COD, at the very least in the early COD days. He's a pretty good villain. It's a good villain kind of because he brainwashed Mason. It just has reasons for everything, if that makes sense. So I think he's a good villain in my opinion, just to kind of get that out of the way. During the next 16 years, Dragovich climbed through the ranks of the Red Army and ultimately became one of the most powerful men in the Soviet Union. With its entire military seemingly at his disposal, in 1961, Dragovich turned out to be working with Fidel Castro, securing an alliance with the Cuban government to allow Dragovich to operate within the Cuban borders. During the Bay of Pigs invasion, Operation 40, a CIA-led assassination team was ordered to assassinate Castro. However, the evacuation went awry and Mason was captured by Castro, Dragovich, and Kravchenko. Wait a few moments, let him rest while he regains consciousness, double the voltage. Dragovich telling Steiner to brainwash Mason. Later, he brought Mason to Vorkuta, which was a Soviet labor camp. While there, Dragovich had Steiner implant Mason with number sequences to translate the number codes that are necessary to receive instructions. As Dragovich's sleeper agent, Dragovich also tried to brainwash Mason to kill the current president of the U.S., John F. Kennedy. However, that was with little success. He considered the brainwashing of Alex Mason a failure and decided to let Mason rot in Vorkuta. But Reznov, who was also an inmate of Vorkuta, used his friendship with Mason to sabotage the brainwashing by implanting new targets to kill: Dragovich, Kravchenko, and Steiner, in revenge for betraying him and killing Petrenko. And yeah, that's the whole thing. Reznov, brainwashed Mason to kill Kravchenko and Steiner, throughout the whole thing, basically pretty much to get revenge, like they mentioned. So that's kind of the whole thing with the whole Reznov thing. Now, about a month after the Vorkuta escape, Dragovich oversaw the launch of 2 Soyuz rockets as part of the Soviet space program, which he took Kravchenko with him to watch the project. Operation Forward, he planted a double agent named Grigory Weaver that was working with the Ascension group to help out with the infiltration by the X-ray and the Whiskey teams. Weaver was discovered and Dragovich ordered Kravchenko to take care of him. Kravchenko stabbed Weaver in the eye with a knife, causing him to lose his eye. X-ray hunted down there and rescued Weaver, who, despite his injuries that was obtained, he was able to continue with the mission. Mason, Woods, and Weaver sabotaged Soyuz 2 in time and hunted the Ascension group down. Kravchenko left his base in private Mi-8 assault helicopter, while Dragovich appeared to have tried leaving with his private limo. Mason's team chased and destroyed the limousine and assumed that he was dead. Mason had the feeling that Dragovich was not present in the limousine, which turned out to be correct, and they captured Mason the second time. "It's been too long, Mason. We must make up for lost time," Dragovich after capturing Mason. It was discovered by the SOG team that Kravchenko was operating in Vietnam, and they were told to hunt him down and kill him. A Soviet cargo plane that was thought to contain Nova 6 was shot down by the CIA, and a SOG team comprised of Mason, Woods, Bowman, and Reznov were ordered to recover it. They reached the wreckage after fighting the enemies with the resistance, only to find Dragovich's compound. But the Soviet forces arrived on the ground below. The SOG team battled them, but the team was found by Dragovich and Kravchenko. Soon after, the result of all of them were killed by the Viet Cong and the Soviet forces. "Our plan to strike at the very heart of the West is now in motion," quote Dragovich. All of the Dragovich's actions were in preparations for an attack on the United States with Nova 6, released by and with the brainwashed sleeper agents that he planted across the United States. He controlled them through his number station and is ready to release Nova 6 and decimate America under its orders. So now our final chapter for Dragovich, his death. "You should have been my finest agent. It would have all been so much simpler." Dragovich before Mason chokes him to death. In the final mission of the campaign, Mason and Hudson attempted to capture Dragovich, destroying the Rusalka, only to find out that the Rusalka was just a surface component. The real number station was in a Soviet submarine base. They fought their way into the base at the same time the attack was from the surface, tearing the base apart, causing the flood and explode bit by bit. After the two split up, Mason finds a broadcast control point with an overhanging platform and prepares to shut it down, but an explosion dislodges him from the platform. Mason grabs onto the edge of the platform just as Dragovich emerges from the smoke. Just when Dragovich moved to execute Mason, Hudson intervened and shot him in the shoulder. While Dragovich was distracted on attempting to kill Hudson, Mason grabbed his arm, pulled him over the ledge on the platform, dropping both Dragovich and Mason on the ground as water rose up from below. Mason reprimanded Dragovich for the way that he brainwashed him after resulting in the death of the SOG colleagues Woods and Bowman. After reprimanding him for trying to kill his own president, John F. Kennedy, Dragovich responded by saying, "Tried?" Mason choked him to death under the water, ultimately drowning Dragovich. And now, I don't mention any of the Cold War stuff or anything that happened in the Cold War, but I will mention what they have to say about Black Ops 2. Though Dragovich does not appear in any part of the throughout past story arc of the campaign, he is mentioned and seen in the cutscene when Woods tells the story about how Alex survived the numbers to his son, David Mason. Dragovich can be seen when Mason was being programmed by Steiner. It was revealed that Reznov was the one who reprogrammed Mason rather than Dragovich. So that's the big reveal there. I figured it was worth it to mention. So that's pretty much Dragovich's story throughout the Black Ops 1 campaign. Like I said, he was the main villain, so I figured, it's definitely important to mention him and do a character analysis of him. But yeah, I don't have much to say about him. I said it earlier. He's a good villain. He's a good villain, sets the stage for throughout the Black Ops 1 campaign. But other than that, I really don't have much to say about him. There's not much history between him, just he was a Black Ops 1 main villain. So there's not much history that goes back, nothing really much to say. So comment down below, what do you guys think of Dragovich? Is he a good villain? A bad villain? What do you guys think of him? Let's discuss. Um, Now I know I said I'm gonna try and get character analysis out every Sunday. Today is Sunday, so hopefully I can stick to that. Hopefully, like I said, something for you guys to look forward to at least once every Sunday. We'll have a character analysis come out. So let's see if I can stick to that, and we can stick to that schedule. So that's pretty much it. Make sure to subscribe for more content, like the video, all the good stuff. Discord, Twitch, Instagram, links in the description. I'll see you guys in the next video.